There's an article that I will leave in the description below, and it's about affirmative action. Post-affirmative action, Asian American families are more stressed than ever about college administrations because it's a lot of information, and there's a story about how Asian Americans are going to admission consultants and they're taking all these AP classes. But when they put their name on this application, people are going to know that they are Asian, and they're trying to avoid discrimination because you know that there was Edward Bloom, who has been trying to destroy affirmative action forever, and he got his way when him and some Asian Americans got together saying affirmative action should be stricken down because it should be merit based and not race based, even in this country, knowing this country is soaked in racial discrimination and holding people down per race to give yourself a leg up while stepping on their back. That's what affirmative action was trying to curb, to give people the opportunity at what is supposed to be life, liberty, and happiness. Because we know that certain people were brought over here as chattel and not to have life, liberty, and happiness, but to serve a certain demographic so they can have life, liberty, and happiness. So now they're starting to feel the pain. They thought that, and I don't know why. How many times do we have to say something before people believe it? But I'm happy they don't believe it because they end up shooting themselves in the foot. And then I can sit back with my drink and my popcorn and laugh as I watch them suffer. I'm going to enjoy this because they engaged in this and made it happen. So now they are going to reap what they sow. They're already reaping what they sow. I knew this was coming. I was just waiting for them to voice it. I didn't think they were going to voice it so soon. I thought they would be shamed into embarrassment and hide because they didn't want Black people to say, I told you so. So for whatever reason, these colorless adjacent people, I'll call them that, since people are going to be crying, not everyone. So these colorless adjacent people with this mindset, they thought that, oh, there's a percentage of these N-words that are getting into Ivy League colleges and they don't deserve to be there because I have a 10.10 GPA and it should be me. So they were looking down on people who got through affirmative action, which is not going to help you graduate. That's crazy. How can you call yourself so smart and study to get understanding and retain information, but you can't see the forest for the tree? You're a smart, dumb person. I think that's worse than being dumb because you can actually have some intelligence. By then you have street smarts and you have common sense. So you can just educate yourself and you'll be well-rounded. But you cannot do anything with a smart, dumb person. So they thought they were doing something to Black people when we said Black people do not benefit off of affirmative action. White women do. And now that they teamed up with Edward Bloom and done this asinine thing that is shooting them in the foot, these white women who benefited from affirmative action's children will be placed in a seat in a college that they want before them. It specifically talks about Sam, who basically has a 4.41 GPA and taken 7 AP courses and was not accepted into these Ivy League colleges. When I said, to be so book smart, but to not see that you're being used to an end and that in the end you are going to be harmed by this, it was insane to me. That's why I wasn't really outraged about it. It just seemed like, how can you be that book smart with that GPA and be dumb enough to fall for someone telling you the Blacks are taking up space, and if you could move this around, you have a 4.41 GPA, you'll be pushed right in. Dumb. How many times do we sit up there and say, and I'll link the videos that I have about all of this, but legacies, the legacy admission, they will take on a legacy that is dumb as a box of rocks before they will let you in. And now they have killed 2 birds with 1 stone. They can discriminate against the Blacks, but they can also get their main target, which was Asian Americans in the first place. It says that Asian American students are 28% less likely to be accepted at selective colleges than their colorless counterparts with similar academic qualifications, which I call bull on that. I'm sorry. Well, due to the legacies, I think that someone who has lower academic qualifications would be accepted before an Asian American that has higher. The gap was far worse for students of South Asian descent, who were 49% less likely to gain admissions than their colorless peers with comparable applications. East Asian and Southeast Asian applicants' odds were 17% lower than their colorless peers. Most of the disparity stems from legacy admission policies that favor the children of alumni who were more likely to be colorless. So I didn't want to read all of it, but all of these Asian children who are competing with each other are not going to get into an Ivy League school, and there are other schools that they can get into, but they are crying and whining, kind of like the video I did about STY. It is a school where it's majority Asian Americans, and their parents were trying to levy a lawsuit because they want to bring in other demographics and give them a chance, but they want to keep it predominantly Asian. And now the Asian Americans were crying about the Ivy League colleges, kind of like, in a weird way, oh, you're accepting these people in. Like, you're never going to be a good enough pet to be accepted by colorless people. And now they're going to show you what they think of you. And since you've done what you've done, you're going to see that you're not going to have many allies or people advocating for you. You may have a few, but you did this to yourself, just like the people who voted for Ron DeSantis in Florida. They did it to themselves. So now you have to suffer the consequences. Oh, well, I don't even have a tear for you who engage in this and agree with striking down affirmative action. I think it was silly. I think it was dumb. I think it was an avoidable self-inflicting wound, and I'm just going to laugh at you because, hey, you did it to yourself. I'll go ahead and end it right here. Let me know what you think about this story, and I will see you in the next one.